Hi and welcome. My name is Bianca Swikard. If you are new here, welcome to my page. If you are returning, welcome back. I am a freedom consciousness priestess. What I do specifically is I help women release the density of the 3D by helping them rewire the beliefs and the patterns that are keeping you stuck in this loop that's feeling lost, drained, stuck in survival mode so that you can naturally raise your frequency so that you can align with a timeline and a reality that feels very purposeful, confident, abundant, expanded, expansive, and free. How I do this is I activate women through my signature portal to your personal power process. And I do this in something called the Freedom Frequency Experience. We are currently in the second wave of this experience. And something that I haven't done here that I do in my experience is live activations. And so, what I want to try and do here and what I want to incorporate into my 2026 content a little bit more is providing you with a little taste of some of the activations that I do that are live inside of the Freedom Frequency Experience. The way that my activations work is that my voice and my words carry the coding that you need in order to activate or switch on something specific in your soul that'll help you align with a lighter density frequency to raise your baseline vibration so that you can go from this survival mode pattern that you are living in the 3D and raise your baseline so that you can start calling in and attracting a higher vibrational life, something that you desire more, a timeline that is more abundant, confident, free, purpose filled. Today, what I want to talk about in this mini activation is closing out this 9 year cycle that we're doing right now in 2025. In these last few weeks of December 2025, you might be feeling this urge to purge, or you might be feeling frustration with things that are occurring in your life. You might be this feeling this need to cry, or just this overall sense of like being done with a particular circumstance or pattern or relationship or a job or a lifestyle, whatever that be, however that may be manifesting in your life. And the reason that you're naturally feeling this way is because right now, 2025 is a year 9 in numerology. And what a year 9 really represents is closing out, wrapping up, releasing, and letting go of a cycle so that we can step into a year 1, which is 2026, which is new beginnings, new timelines, a new era of growth for you. So, right now, we're closing out a 9 year cycle, and this is a karmic chapter that started in 2017. So 2016, December 2016 was the last time we had a year 9. Something that I always like to say is really fun for you to do is to look back in your camera roll in 2016 to see what you were doing in December of 2016, what kind of lifestyle you were living, what you were closing out, what you were releasing in that cycle, and kind of reflect back on what you have done in this last cycle, how much you've grown, how much you've expanded in the last 9 years. So, this isn't just an ending, so that you know, this is a sort of initiation into the next cycle. With ending a cycle, there comes a lot of letting go, releasing, and purging. And the reason that you naturally do this is because your soul already knows what can't come with you into the next cycle. The point of getting into the next cycle is for you to be able to have that next timeline of growth, expansion, flow, alignment, whatever it is. And in that next timeline, in that next cycle, your soul already knows what needs to be let go of in order for you to be initiated into the next cycle. So, anything that feels like it's falling apart, shifting, or dropping away is simply your soul naturally releasing what is no longer aligned and what can't come with you into 2026. So this might feel both exciting to you right now, like anticipating something new, something fresh, kind of the sense of that we get at the end of every year, but it's a little bit deeper now than it typically is at the end of, let's say, year 1. And so you might feel a little bit of excitement, but there also might be some feelings of grief or frustration that are happening alongside of that because you are at this time you're really simultaneously letting go, releasing, what can't come with you, along with anticipating this next cycle. So, right now, your job really isn't to cling on to anything that doesn't feel good to you anymore. We don't want to force any clarity to come out. All we're doing right now is allowing yourself to dissolve what is no longer aligned with you so that you can move into the next timeline and crystallize that new expansion in the next 9 year cycle. And so I want to talk about a little bit what the symptoms are of this release that you might be experiencing so that you can see what it is that you're going through. We're going to talk about a little bit of why that feels intense to you, what your soul might be purging, some emotional waves that you're going to be going through, and so the energetic reason behind these symptoms, how to release with ease. How to prepare for 2026 and how to enter into 2026 with a refreshed intention. So that's what we're going to be going through. I just want to let you know that I do have notes in front of me. This is how I do my activations in the Freedom Frequency Experience. This is by design because the way that my activations work is that some of the words that I choose have specific intention, have a specific frequency that is used to activate or switch on that mechanism in your soul that needs to remember that frequency that you need to raise into. So that is a part of my process. As I just want to let you know as we're moving through this activation session here. So let's talk about the symptoms of closing out a cycle so that you're aware of. If you've been feeling exhausted, emotional, restless, or like you feel like you are kind of done tolerating things that you were tolerating for a while, you all of a sudden feel misaligned with certain things. It could be circumstances, situations, events, your own patterns, your own habits. It could be a relationship, whatever that might be. I just want to let you know that you're not breaking down in any way. What you're doing is you're clearing. You're in this process of realigning, and realignment always requires clearing because uh, almost always alignment requires releasing and letting go. Typically, when we are not aligned with our highest path, the reason we aren't is because we refuse to let go of a density, a pattern, a loop, a thought, a belief system that is keeping us stuck in the lower frequency. And so you're not breaking down. This is all a part of the process when you're clearing. It's just requiring alignment, release for the alignment. So here are some symptoms that you might be experiencing here in the last couple days of 2025 as you're releasing. You might be requiring some deeper sleep. So you might be more tired than usual. But on the flip side, you also might be having trouble sleeping. So any disruption in your normal sleep pattern is really an indication that your body, your energetic field is doing some clearing. You might have some random memories resurfacing that you're like, oh, I haven't thought about that in a while. Why is that coming up to the surface right now? The reason that's coming up to the surface is because you're ready to deal with it, release it, and clear it. You might have some heightened intuition that's coming online right now. So just kind of clarity thoughts, downloads that are coming in that might feel like, okay, this is the information that I really needed to hear right now. Certain moments of clarity. You might be having this really big sense of feeling done just with certain things, people, patterns, places, situations. You might get some sudden urges to clean, declutter, reorganize. And this is because you're clearing your space to allow your system energetically to purge in a place that feels safe to your nervous system. So these are just signals of that your field, your energy, your soul, your system is recalibrating. What we're doing is we are creating that space for recalibration for 2026 and that energetic shift that you need to let go of in order to get into 2026 in a new higher, more aligned way. So we are shedding the versions of us, the identities, the patterns, the loops, the timelines that our soul knows we can't take into 2026. So why this might feel really intense to you right now. So the intensity, it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. I always want to make that very clear. It means that your soul is accelerating. So when we hit these moments of intensity, they're not indications that we're doing something wrong. They're actually accelerations for growth. So the deeper and the denser that you feel during this period, the lighter you're going to feel on the other side. So this 9 year cycle is what we're doing is we're compressing the timeline right now and really just shedding really quickly on everything that can't come with us in 2026 and the next cycle. So we're dissolving the illusions and the identities that we outgrew in the last 9 years so that when we enter into that new timeline, we're already aligned with that new version. So things can really feel overwhelming to you, and that's okay. Sometimes it just takes our body and our nervous system a little bit of time to catch up and recalibrate to what our soul is doing. Our DNA sometimes isn't as quick as the energy of our soul wants to take it. And so trouble sleeping, not being able to digest foods normally, headaches, being extra thirsty, like these are all normal signs of purging energetically, even if you're not consciously aware of what you're purging. You also might be wanting to lean into slowing down. This is already a very common thing to be doing in the end of the year during this time in December. This is all because your energy system, your energy body, and your nervous system know that you need to slow down so that you can stabilize the new frequency that you're pulling in. So let's talk about what the soul is purging because we talk about needing to release and to let go. But what is it exactly that you're letting go? And what you're letting go right now is not a punishment, even though it might feel very dense or chaotic to you in your system. What you're letting go of is everything that your soul knows is not aligned with your highest timeline. You're going to be letting go of old roles, identities that have been keeping you small or keeping you contained or keeping you from expanding into that next version. You're going to be letting go of attachments, especially ones built from fear. So anything built from control or fear are naturally going to start falling away right now. Identities rooted in survival instead of expansion, some relationships that were formed around wounding. So this can be familial relationships, partnerships, friendships, work relationships. It will be shedding these older versions that you already know are no longer aligned with you. And this might be something that you're doing consciously or subconsciously. And that differentiation doesn't matter if you're aware of it or not. What is most important here is that you're trusting the process and allowing the process to happen because the shedding is so important to realign you into that higher vibration for the next cycle. So as a piece of comfort, I always want to let you know that your soul never purges what you actually need. Your soul only purges what no longer is serving you, what you have outgrown. Everything that we pick up, a belief, a thought pattern, a loop, a habit, has always been picked up as a means to serve us at one point in time. The problem is when we continue to live in that identity, that loop, that thought pattern, that frequency after it no longer serves us. That's what keeps us stuck. That's what keeps us feeling trapped and in survival mode. And so the soul already knows what you need to let go in order to get to that next step. And so just trust that process and allow it to happen. During this phase, you're going to be going through emotional waves in the purging. And this is very common and normal. So I don't want you to judge yourself through this process. Things that you might feel are grief, irritation, detachment, emotional waves out of nowhere. So high highs, low lows. Just know that this is your DNA, your cells clearing out. So sometimes when we're doing clearing, cathartic clearing with crying, screaming, purging, that comes very consciously and is attached to an emotion or thought. And sometimes when we're doing clearing energetically, we might not be consciously aware of what needs to be cleared or what is clearing. A lot of the times, the conscious isn't aware of what the body is storing and remembering. And so, just allowing those emotional waves to kind of come in and pass through your system without judging it will allow this process to happen a lot easier, a lot simpler, and in a lot more of a flow way without resistance. So your cellular DNA or your body will remember past timelines. So this lifetime or a previous lifetime, it will remember outdated realities or identities that you thought that you had let go of, but you haven't necessarily let go of. Your mind will want to ask things like, why am I feeling like this? What is leaving me right now? Does this feel so difficult? And I just urge you that through this process that you just allow the emotions to come up, pass through you, to experience them so that they can let go. The reason why we have such a hard time with our emotions or letting go of trauma or letting or purging of old identities or old systems or old paradigms or old beliefs is because we refuse or we resist the letting go process. The easiest way for you to let go of something is to allow it to arise and to allow it to play itself out. So it's very common for us to want to suppress the emotion or the thought or the belief that's keeping us feeling in shame or judgment or feeling like we're too much. But allowing it to play out actually gives it less power, allowing it to rise naturally, for you to notice the emotion, to cry, to scream, to let it out, and for it to just leave your emotional body. That is actually going to be the way that you're going to be able to release and let go what's no longer serving you in this cycle so that you can move on to the next. I want to talk a little bit about the energetic reason behind some of these symptoms. What's happening when we're completing a cycle and entering into a new one is we are entering in a new timeline. So your body is updating its frequency, your soul is updating its frequency naturally, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. And so, what your soul is doing is attempting to match the frequency of 2026 of the next cycle during this period. And this is very common to happen every year in the winter months. That's just a natural cyclical process of your body, of your energetic field. That's why we slow down during this time frequently. But it's going to feel a little bit more intense right now because we're clearing out a full cycle to enter into a new one. So you might feel tired, random aches, head pressure, sensitivity to noise or people, needing more time alone. That's all normal. It's your physical body just trying to catch up with the quantum leap that's happening in your system and in your energetic field. Just know that right now, rest is not laziness. Rest is the integration of this process that's happening at the frequency energetic level as well as at the subconscious level. So, allowing yourself to rest during this time is very important. So, let's talk about how you can release with ease because the whole point of this is to go through it with the least resistance possible. The less resistance that you can create in your journey, in your energetic journey, in your spiritual journey, in your life, the easier and the more in flow and the more aligned you're going to feel. So, releasing only becomes painful when we resist it. So, when you stop fighting what you're experiencing, you start allowing the release to occur. And that's when the release becomes effortless. So cry when you need to, scream when you need to, obviously find a safe place that people aren't going to think that you're being attacked or you're attacking someone. And just practice saying some of these things. I trust what is dissolving is for my highest good. I trust my soul is allowing me to release what I need right now to step into my highest timeline. I don't chase what my soul has already completed. I choose alignment over familiarity. Or the more you can soften into these thoughts and beliefs and this frequency, the smoother that this transition is really going to feel for you because this is where your new timeline is taking you. So, what can we do to prepare for 2026? Right now, what I really want you to do is just to focus on softening and allowing. There might be some urge from your ego to start preparing for 2026, to prepare for that frequency of new beginnings, fresh start, new hope, new possibilities, new opportunities. Just know that all the release that you're happening is serving you for your highest good and not to focus too much on what's going to come because what's going to come is going to be more aligned than what you're feeling right now. So 2026 is bringing you the frequency of new beginnings, rapid manifestation, new identity embodiment, and more aligned opportunities. Right now though, you really can't access that in your outdated self identity concept beliefs. And so, really, your focus right now needs to be at the end of 2025. And the most powerful thing that you could be doing right now is simply to allow the things to let go be gone. So, whatever is rising in you emotionally, or the memories or the thoughts that keep replaying, these are signals from your soul, from your higher self to you of what needs to be let go of. So, right now at the end of 2025, all you need to be focusing is just simplifying or letting go of some commitments that you have to allow your body to recalibrate, clearing your environment to give your nervous system a clear space for energetic release and purging, releasing any obligations that you were doing out of the old version of you. So whenever you said yes, when you really wanted to say no, it's time for you to kind of release those obligations and just really get intentional with the version of you that you are becoming, and letting go the version of you that cannot come in that next identity. It's very important as you are stepping into 2026 to get very clear on who you want to be, the opportunities you want presented, the timeline you want to feel aligned in, and the version of you that is going to be manifesting all of this. The universe only responds to clarity. So the clearer you are on what you want to call in the next 9-year cycle, the more aligned the universe will be able to respond. So right now is a really good time for reflection, clarity, and release. If you have not done so already, I really highly recommend that you take 10-15 minutes to get clear on what opportunities, what alignment, what manifestations, what version you want to be, and who you're becoming in 2026 and over the course of the next 9 years. So, this identity death or this release or these purging, what's happening is you're not losing any part of yourself, and you're not losing anything that is important or that's going to cause misalignment or pain in the next cycle. Everything that you are releasing is allowing you to return to your natural, most highest energetic state, your highest energetic frequency. So, everything that we release naturally clarifies who we are authentically, energetically, and everything that we let go of was never truly ours to begin with anyway. So roles, labels, desires will dissolve because this is your soul naturally upgrading to match your true identity, the version that you actually are in your next timeline. So that version of you entering 2026 is going to be more aligned, more magnetic, and more free to live in a life that feels more thriving versus a life that is surviving. So anything that you feel is lost was never yours truly to begin with. So this is the place where you're going to be able to meet yourself at a deeper level, which is so exciting. So let's set the intention of entering 2026 and the timeline of the next year's cycle. I want you to really set the intention right now to be aligned with the universe by choosing you, the identity, the timeline, the opportunities, the abundance, and the purpose that you want to create for 2026 and beyond. So at the end of this 9-year cycle, just ask yourself, what am I no longer available for? What frequency do I choose to embody in this next cycle? What identity I'm ready to step into. And as you're doing this, I just want you to align with this next chapter, this next cycle in the quantum field. So as you are releasing this version of you and purging and having the sense of being done with these circumstances, situations, patterns, and loops, just know that as each time you release and each time you purge, you are going to be embodying the highest, most authentic version of you in that next chapter, in that next frequency. As we close this out, I just want to remind you that you are not losing yourself through the purge. What you're doing is you're just shedding everything that's keeping you from being your most highly authentic self. So, whatever feels like is misaligned or that is hard or is frustrating or chaotic is not a failure. It's simply your system clearing out what can't come with you in the next timeline. So it's your soul's way of creating more precision and alignment for the next cycle. Your soul is making room for the next version of you, and that's something to be excited about. This next version of you and this next cycle is going to be more aligned with clarity, confidence, purpose, abundance, and hopefully freedom, because we want to raise our vibration from this 3D density of survival into that 4D lightness of thriving and calling in and manifesting the things that we desire, the timeline we desire, the identity that we are truly meant to embody in this life. This transition isn't meant to be pretty or perfect. It can feel difficult at times, but just know that what you work on right now, what you release right now, is only going to propel you into 2026 with more alignment. So that concludes this video where we talk about how to release what's no longer serving you to end the 9-year cycle here in 2025 and as we step into 2026. If this message resonated with you at all, I highly appreciate you interact with this video and that we stay connected. In 2026, I am going to be stepping into my highest alignment, which is going to be providing more videos of clarity and guidance and freedom consciousness activations in this way. Hit the subscribe button so that you can stay connected with me, and make sure that you are just trusting this process and allowing yourself to rest through this process. You are not going through this process alone. There is a whole collective shift right now that's happening at the end of this cycle to step into the next 9-year cycle. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.